Hey everybody, happy Friday. That's when I'm making this video anyway, so if you're watching it today, happy Friday. If not, happy whatever day it is. So my topic today is going to be, how do you know if you're the black sheep? If you're watching this, you probably have a good idea already, but I'm just going to give you some target items to help you validate and to confirm your suspicion. So, if you come from a toxic, narcissistic family or just toxic family in general, there's always a black sheep, there's always a scapegoat. That's the other name. I think I made a video about why you're the black sheep, and all of the reasons are awesome, rest assured. It's pretty much because you're the truth teller, you're the justice seeker, you're strong, you're all of the things that, the people that the narcissistic parent targeting you, they're not, and they envy the heck out of you. So being the black sheep is pretty awesome. It super sucks, like enduring their abuse and being targeted for your whole life. But it's a good thing, trust me, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that skip off into the sunset, living our best lives. And we can extricate ourselves from their toxicity and their abuse. Meanwhile, they're stuck with their miserable selves because they choose not to do anything about their issues. They just, their solution is hurting other people around them. Like, I'm going to take everybody else down instead of dealing with my stuff. And that's just pathetic. That's terrible in my eyes, in my humble opinion. So anyway, how do you know that you're the black sheep? Number one, something always felt off regarding your family. I've heard this so many times, and this was always my feeling all throughout my life. Like, something just doesn't feel right. For example, all growing up, like, my narc mother we would watch like family movies and stuff, like Father of the Bride, like National Lampoon's Vacation, stuff like that. And my narc mom would always make these comparisons between our family and the families on these movies. And I was always like, what? Like, it made no sense whatsoever. Like, we couldn't be farther from a like normal comparison to these people. Like, no one in my family had connections, relationships, open dialogue, any of that stuff. So, number one, you always felt like something was off. For real. Like, I felt that way. I still feel that way. But now I know what it is, at least. Number two, you have a relentless inner critic. You will never feel worthy or good enough for anything. And this is because your toxic family, you were the garbage can for all of their hostility and aggression. You were the whipping girl or boy or whatever. You bore the brunt of all of their toxicity, all of their malicious treatment, all of their, they just unloaded it all onto you, and they've been doing that. So they've strategically degraded you, they've cut you down consistently. They just steadily chipped away at your self-confidence and your self-esteem, any self-worth that you had any chance of having. They did everything they could to take that away from you. Sucks. Like, I say this a lot, early childhood development is the most critical, crucial time in your life, and it's where you establish your character, the way, the patterns of, interacting with other people, how you maintain relationships. And, if you are being raised in this toxic, oppressive environment, it's not your fault, but inevitably it will impact your character, you personally. So when we should be establishing healthy self-esteem and confidence and knowing how awesome we are there these toxic people, toxic parents in my situation, they were just tearing us down the whole time. She even got, like, my narc mother turned my father against me, as well as my older sibling brother. He was the flying monkey scapegoat, but they trained him to put me down as well. So it was coming at me from all fronts. So you know you're the black sheep number 2 if you have developed this relentless inner critic. That's because of them. Number 3, you embody like dysfunctional repercussions, signs of CPTSD. Those are the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses. So fight is pretty self-explanatory. You're combative. You're always on guard. Flight is like you check out. Like you might sleep all the time. It might be like a subtle manifestation, but flight, you check out. I'll do another video on this. Fight, flight, freeze is like you just you fail to do anything. You might just be like totally stunted. Like you can't respond to things, react to things the way you would have otherwise. And the fawn response, which was always me, is like you want to make things right. You might be a people pleaser, something like that. You always took it upon yourself to feel that it was your responsibility to make things better in your toxic family, even though there was no making anything better. There is no helping these people. You can't help people that don't want to help themselves. That's where I finally got to, thankfully, at 39. The ripe old age. It took me a long time, but it feels good to be here. Anyway, so number 4, this one, you're a decent, compassionate human being that was failed by your family of origin. You longed for and held hope for them to become better people. You kept trying, which is absolutely what I did. I was always like, what can I do to get through to them? How can I improve communication within this family? How can, we do conflict resolution? Like, I majored in psychology. I have my master's, and I was so focused on, making these people better, like improving this family. But again, like I said, you can't help people that don't want to be helped. And you keep trying. And I think a lot of us have gotten to that place where it's like, you want to keep trying. But ultimately, I finally got my head around the fact that you cannot help narcissists. They are damaged people. They certainly have issues deep down in their core, but they don't want to address them. They're super miserable, and misery loves company. They would rather take everyone down around them, including their own flipping children. Like, that's how disordered these people are. But I feel you on this one, number 4. You always wanted to make things better. You always wanted to fix it. So if you always did that, you're probably the black sheep. So number 5, no matter how awesome you are, no matter how fabulous of a person you probably are, you always felt inferior and that others viewed you in a poor way. Probably because your narcissistic parent was smear campaigning you all the while, which means that they just run their mouth and trash talk you behind your back to anyone that will listen. I know my narc mom does this. She'll do this to family members. Her friends, anyone that will listen or pay attention to her, she will talk crap about me to try to, push me down, to push herself up because she tolerated me, right? Because she's the martyr. She's always the victim. I will always be villainized. So number 5 is, no matter how awesome you are, you always feel inferior. You always expect others to see you in a poor light. That has so much to do with the smear campaign that your narcissistic parent launches against you. Triangulation, which is when they turn other people against you as well, like your siblings. Like my narc mom did that with my sibling, my older brother. Like they trained, my father is the enabler, the dependent personality, and he, what's the darn word? He always allies with my narc mother, and like the two of them, and then they brought my brother into it, and they turned him against me. They trained him very well to always report back to them. Like even into my adulthood, he was doing this, and I was like, wow, I have a family and I'm proud of my family. Like one of the last times I talked to this jerk, I was like, I have a family and I'm proud of my family. I don't know what he was like, I don't always agree with your decisions. I was like, what are you talking about, man? Like Joey, my sweet son back there that passed, it was like the last time I spoke to this jerk was when my husband and I were going through fighting Joey's brain cancer, and this flying monkey triangulated golden boy brother still was coming at me, man. Like no matter, like we were going through the worst nightmare I would never wish on anyone, and he was still like attacking me, like putting me down and speaking to me as if I was subordinate or like inferior in some way. So that's number 5. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent. So you'll always feel inferior and that others view you in a negative light, probably because of triangulation and smear campaigns from your narcissistic parent. Hope this helps you guys. So I'm just confirming your suspicions that you are the black sheep, or the scapegoat is another word for it. It's a terrible position to be in, but at the end of the day, we win. So congratulations if you are the black sheep. You stood out from this toxic unit. So good for you. We deserve to live our best lives. We were strong enough to resist all of their toxicity, trying to suck us into that, and we stayed apart. So God bless you guys. All right, so we're bumped and we're bruised, but more than anything, we're blessed, my sign over there, because we're better people because of this. We're compassionate, we are validating each other, we appreciate and are authentic, so we're super blessed. God bless you guys. See you soon.